Ah, there we go. All right. Sorry about the discrepancy, everyone. Welcome back to another edition of the Breakdown Sportscast. I'm your good friend and host, Corey Willis. Hope everyone is doing well on a Sunday evening. Hope you guys enjoyed week 12 of the college football season out there. So, yeah, guys, I hope everyone is doing well this evening out there. As always, guys, we appreciate you all locking in with us on the show. You know where to find us. We're on multiple different social media forms. Of course, we want to find everything that we do. You can always follow us on X, TikTok, Instagram at BD Sportscast. You can find all of our content there. If you are also into listening to the show via podcast, you can listen to all of our past and present episodes of the Breakdown Sportscast on any of your favorite podcast applications, whether it's Spotify, Apple Podcasts, you name it, we are on there. And also, we appreciate you guys for tuning in to our live simulcast here on our official YouTube channel and also on our official Twitch channel at Breakdown Video Game Cast, where Chris and I are playing some video games from time to time. So, yeah, guys, we appreciate everything that you guys do, all the support. Is definitely important for Chris and I as we build this community. And we're also trying to get to 100 subscribers, guys. So if we can get to 100 subscribers, that will definitely lock you in into an opportunity of getting into a raffle to win some free swag of your favorite school, courtesy of Chris and I. So that's a thank you for from the both of us for what you guys have done here at the Breakdown Sportscast and great in creating a great community that talks about the greatest sport ever, and that is college football. So yeah, guys. As always, y'all know who I'm with. I'm with my good friend and co-host. He is Chris Bolton. Chris, what's going on, my brother?
Hey, what's going on, Corey? Doing all right, man. Hoping we bring some more entertainment to you guys and what you're experiencing if you're also looking at that Eagles Lions game. Has not been the most viewer friendly experience, but we're looking to change that here on the Breakdown Sportscast. So we'll make up for the energy that game is lacking with our breakdown of the weekend, Corey.
Indeed. As we're recording this, 13-6. Detroit isn't doing a damn thing, but what else is new? Oh man, look, count on Detroit to ruin your fantasy league. It's the world I'm living in right now.
The Eagles been up and down too, so we should have saw this coming.
Yeah, yeah, I think so too. It's par for the course when you're Eagles fan and you're watching less points being put up on the scoreboard on a week to week basis.
Crazy, man. You got Saquon and AJ Brown and Devontae Smith and
13 points. That's all you
y'all.
can do.
Your offense just looks putrid, boy. I mean, sheesh. This
Yeah.
yeah, it's tough, man. It's tough for Eagles fans watching this offense. I ain't gonna say it's tough in general for Eagles fans. You're fresh off a Super Bowl, but at least right now, you don't like what you're seeing.
Absolutely. Look, it is what it is. This was what we got to live with some of these Eagles games.
Hey, you said it is what it is, Corey. That's I'm sure that's the sentiment of a fan base we're about to talk about after what happened on Saturday.
You are absolutely right, Chris. You are absolutely right. It is what it is, and hey, look, folks, you can at me all you want on this. Hey, it's what you get sometimes in college football, and week 12 definitely had some of those moments out there where you can shake your head and say, yeah, that was about right.
It is what it is. That's what South Carolina fans were saying. That's what Texas fans are saying, and that's what Alabama fans were saying on Saturday, Corey.
Absolutely. No, you're absolutely right, Chris. So yeah, man, a great weekend of games indeed. Are you all ready, Chris, to delve into the week that was in week 12 of the college football season?
Let's do it.
All right, all right. Well, here we are, folks. Week 12 is in the books. Let's go ahead and kick things off with this game. The game in T-Town, Tuscaloosa, Alabama. We had the Alabama Crimson Tide take on the Oklahoma Sooners. And the score was 23-21 at the end, Chris. Oklahoma escaping Tuscaloosa with the victory. We called it, Chris. We said that there was a slight chance that Oklahoma could win this ball game, and that they did. And I see one of our listeners, Bishop Franklin. We appreciate you, Bishop, for chiming in
Shout out
with
to
us
Bishop.
on the show. He says, "Salute, fam, boomer." That's right. That's what they told. That's what they told Caleb DeBoer at the end of the game. Boomer Sooner, because that's all you heard as he was walking to the back with his head hanging down.
Talk your talk, Bishop. You ain't wrong.
He was right. We were all right. We were like genies.
Yeah. And Corey, it was play out the way we said it kind of had to. That if it was going to be like low scoring, that's the kind of game Oklahoma wants right there. A defensive struggle, and Alabama, they were able to move the ball in the air. Ty Simpson, he threw for 300 plus, but those turnovers, Corey, those turnovers, they just come back to bite you, don't they?
Indeed. And then looking back at the replay on some of those turnovers, nasty turnovers, just flat out. And like you can't even. Words can't even describe how bad some of those turnovers were for Alabama, but they were costly.
Yeah, you avoid one turnover where the ball rolls out of bounds because Oklahoma couldn't scoop it up. Just for the very next play, Corey, to throw a pick six.
Yeah. It's wild.
That's tough. That's not winning football.
No, not at all. Not at all. And look, it's one of the reasons why they lost. They just could not hang on to the ball. They couldn't. Well, I won't necessarily say that they weren't moving the ball. They just wasn't executing in the plays that they needed to stay ahead in the game. And ultimately, Oklahoma seized the moment, took advantage, and then definitely laid the haymakers when they needed to win this ball game. And there was a part of me feeling like this game was going to be as close as it got, because their defense for Oklahoma, when they're playing lights out, they can definitely make these games like really taxing on the opposing teams. And hey, they took care of business with that in mind. And look, you gotta give a shout out to Brent Venables. It hasn't been. They've kind of had their ups and downs this year in Oklahoma, but man, to win this game like this, it was huge, a massive victory for Oklahoma, and now they can try to finish the season the right way, because if they want to make a chance at going to the playoffs, this was a game that they needed, and they got it. So now all they have to do is finish.
Yeah. Man, big win for Oklahoma. Big win for Venables. 2-0 against Kalen DeBoer and as head coach of Alabama. And to get this one on the road in T-Town with your playoff hopes in balance, you know what I'm saying? Just this is the biggest win of his tenure at Oklahoma, I would say, Corey, because this is the one that's going to essentially has them basically locked into the playoff. I feel like they should win out. And you got the game against LSU, which will be quite interesting, based off of the trajectory and how LSU season has played out now. This isn't the same game that we looked at in the preseason, Corey. This looks like a game that is right there for Oklahoma to dominate and for them to, to essentially lock in their role and their spot and bid in the playoff. And so, big win for the Sooners, especially too to win an ugly game. You want to dominate, you want to execute, and that's always great. But to make the game nasty, get steal points, get a pick six, and then you also had another big turnover, big interception when Alabama was driving. I mean, just timely turnovers to make those plays. That goes a long way in showing that we can win the game any kind of way. It can be pretty, and we can execute. That's cool. Or if we make this thing nasty, we can win a rough and rugged and tough game. And they won a early 2000s SEC game, Corey, 23 points. We keep in the low 20s. That isn't normal in today's college football. But to see a game with a score like that, especially with the athletes that are on the field in the SEC. But big ups to the Sooners. And I'm expecting this team to, with the defense that they have, they are a tough out for anybody. I mean, including the Ohio States of the world, the Indianas, Oregon, clearly Alabama. If Georgia were to play them, it would be tough. Like, this is not a team that you're going to push over. They can play with anybody. And I'm just curious to see how the season continues and what noise they'll make.
Indeed. Yeah. That's why I said for them, it's all about finishing at this point now. You don't want to, be lackadaisical. At this point of the season, you got to finish out the right way. If they can finish out the right way, they still have Missouri. It's going to be a tough game, but good thing that they have that game at home in Norman. And they finish off the season also at home against LSU. So, yeah, it's all about finishing the right way, not letting the moment get too big for you if they want to make it to the playoffs. And I think this team is a playoff team. Have they played like it every single week like that? No, but neither has Alabama at times. So, and even Georgia. I mean, the list can go on and on and on. There's only so many teams out there that are just clear cut playoff teams out there. And I'm looking at Indiana and Ohio State right now, and pretty much Texas A&M. Those three have done it, but everybody else has had their growing pains. So, it's all about finishing the right way. So we'll see what happens going forward. But a great win indeed to knock off Alabama because they were riding high this season.
Yeah, and then just to touch on Alabama, what this loss means for them. It's quite an interesting wrinkle, Corey, because the Iron Bowl is around the corner, and I know it's been rough for Auburn this year, but Auburn's going to bring it, and we have seen before an Auburn team that's been struggling. It took a crazy catch at the end of the game for Alabama to win a game against a bad Auburn team. We've seen this movie before. We can't just write off that Iron Bowl game. This can be quite interesting. And you do have Cam Coleman, Eric Singleton. You got some true playmakers on that Auburn team. I expect Alabama to win, and they better be locked in for that game. And I'm sure they'll be locked in because it is the Iron Bowl. But that just makes that game quite interesting, Corey, because with the struggles Auburn has had this season, they will love nothing more than to be the reason Alabama does not make the playoff by giving them a third loss in the regular season.
No, you're absolutely right, Chris. So yeah, that's one of the things about this Alabama team that it's been weird. We saw them in the first game of the season lose against Florida State, and then from there they locked in and they got to this point before heading into this Oklahoma game and ultimately lost that. Now
Mm-hmm.
just like Oklahoma, if they want to have any shred of hope of keeping their playoffs alive, they gotta beat Auburn. Everything comes down to the Iron Bowl now.
And you can't lose to this Auburn team and make the playoff.
You definitely can't. So hey, it's about to get very, very interesting now with pretty much 2 games left for some of these teams out here. It's gonna be interesting. Like what Alabama are we going to get to finish out the season the right way to
Mm-hmm.
hopefully get some possibility of getting into the 12-team playoff? What are we gonna get? Is this team still motivated to finish the right way, or did did this loss create just a whirlwind of uncertainty, of doubt for this team? We're about to see what this team is really, really made of, Chris. Because, man, yeah, you wanted to be Oklahoma to submit your legacy this season. Now you got some work to do. So we'll see what happens. But one last thing I wanted to note, Chris, because I'm glad that you had mentioned it before we started recording. Ty Simpson, 28 for 42 with 326 yards. When you look at this stat, and then you look at like Daniel Hill rushing, 15 carries, just 60 yards. Jan Miller, just 9 for 27. I mean, you can really just tell, Chris, this is not the Alabama team that's really ground and pound, tire you out. Like, we'll talk about Georgia a little bit later on in the show. Like, that's they're the new Alabama at this point now.
Mm-hmm.
They're the new kids on the block tiring you out on the ground. So that's different to get used to. I don't even think I can get used to it, but it's definitely different. Look at Alabama
Yeah.
nowadays.
And you're putting a lot on Ty Simpson
Yeah.
because now, heavy is the head that wears the crown. Now he's carrying the load of the offense. And naturally, when you are dropping back, having more passing attempts, there's more opportunities for interceptions, for strip sacks, for those kinds of turnovers to take place. And yeah, yeah, I think this style of Alabama football, while it does have its benefits, and plus, when you have the athletes Alabama has at receiver, like they got guys. So you're going to have games where everything is clicking and rolling and you're putting belt to ass. You're looking unstoppable. There's there's less stability, I feel like, with this offense and more opportunity for turnovers, for these seesaw games where you play teams closer than you probably should. And I think this will continue to manifest itself as the season continues, Corey. Bama might make the playoffs. I don't think they'll win the championship, though. This team isn't a championship team.
Not at all. Not at all. Yeah, I think that's really what this boils down to. Like I said, can they still find a way to get into the playoffs? Yeah. But hey, they need a lot of help, and yeah, in terms of them making it far, you can't run the football. If you're unwilling to run the football, especially this season, with all of these great running backs and these great rushing offenses out here, man, you're really gonna struggle. And yeah, I just thought that we've seen it all season, but yeah, just seeing that stat definitely speaks volumes of where Alabama's at right now.
Agree. Agree.
So yeah, that's our spiel on Oklahoma and Alabama. It was a great game, great defensive matchup. But shout out to Oklahoma. for winning that one. And we'll see what happens with Alabama as they get ready for the Iron Bowl, the closeout of the season. So yeah. Well, all right, Chris. We are going to now segue into. I gotta go ahead and say the craziest game of the year. And I thought the Indiana Penn State game was the craziest one of the year. It definitely had the craziest catch of the
Crazy catch,
season.
yeah.
But this one, I think this one took the cake. Texas A&M. What was Texas A&M? What did Vegas have Texas A&M? Wasn't they like a 19 and a half point favorite or something?
Favorites.
Yeah. To beat South Carolina, Chris, by halftime, that game was 30-3 in College Station.
VPs. They were a both ends bet.
Yeah.
We just knew that A&M had this.
we thought they had it nipped in the bud. South Carolina was like, no, we gonna make it very interesting. We're gonna make it very interesting. And what do you know? After halftime, Chris, they come out and look at there. 31-30 was your final in this game. Texas A&M they fought like hell. They found every little ounce of dignity and will that they had, Chris, to come back from behind to win this game. And man, they did it in style. At that point, I was sold at that point. I have all season I have doubted Texas A&M handling business on a week-to-week basis, and they have found ways to win games consistently at this point now. I gotta give them my props. This is a playoff team. This is a team that knows how to come from behind and win ball games when they need to. This ain't your same old Texas A&M folks. And hey, shout out to what Mike Elko was doing. New contract that Mike Elko has now. So so yeah, shout out to him for doing work and making sure that he can secure the bag and not lose this team, because man, we were gonna start, had they lost this game and we had known that, we would have been saying a lot different about Mike Elko getting a big contract extension and losing against South Carolina. But man, they definitely found a way, and I'm definitely I was definitely pleased with what I saw over the weekend from the Aggies.
Yeah, like you said, this is not your same old Texas A&M. Battled back, persevered. Marcel Reed he was discombobulated, flustered that first half, throwing the ball backwards, and, throwing interceptions, had a couple interceptions. And, just giving points to South Carolina. South Carolina's defense coming up big and scoring a TD. It was just ugly, Corey. I was like, what is this? Then he settled in, and we've talked a lot about Mario Craver, KC Concepcion, but Ashton Bethel Roman, that boy got some wheels. He was big time. He's the one that stepped up and had just chunk play after chunk play, big time, long catches, a career game for him. He was the X factor in this one. And if A&M is going to be a team that contends for a championship, they're going to have to learn from this game. I think this could be a game where we see that A&M was exposed. We'll look back and be like, this was the game that exposed A&M. A&M isn't everything their record would tell you they are. But the positive, if you're going to learn something from this game, you have learned that you got the athletes. You really got guys to get you out of some situations. Like the running backs and receivers that A&M has, Corey, they have athletes. It's just a matter of, can Marcel Reed take care of the ball? and make the play, the right play. You got guys. You don't have to just force it. You don't have to make a play, Marcel. You have the guys. Just make the right read. If the deep ball's there, take it. But just make the right play. And I think things can work itself out for you. But Marcel Reed kind of worries me, Corey. As great of a season he's had, I think he could be the guy that kind of holds his team back. I don't know.
Yeah, and let's talk about Marcel Reed real quick, just because. Yeah, I think as good as Marcel has been this season, he has also had his stumbles. With taking care of the football, with his decision making at times, and we've seen it as it's just a little bit in his nature. It's a little bit of his character, but I mean, I'd be remiss if we, didn't also talk about his resiliency. Most quarterbacks, I think, in a situation that he's in, would probably fold under pressure, of course. And him being the quarterback of Texas A&M, how many times have we seen quarterbacks at A&M fold under pressure in big games? We've seen it all the time. It's just par for the course. But Marcel, he's definitely a different cat out there at the quarterback position for A&M. Just him finding ways to overcome all of those mistakes, it has been vital for him and this team all season, Chris. I mean, me and you could probably agree they could have lost a couple games this year. They could have lost Notre Dame. They could have lost Arkansas. People forget that game. They had won that game by like two or 3 points.
I think it was 3 points, 47-44.
Yeah. Yeah, that game was close. Arkansas just couldn't play defense to save their life. So yeah, and this one, they're like this could have been we could be talking about a whole different Texas A&M team, Chris, had they lost this game. It would have been the biggest upset this season. And we haven't really had like a huge upset technically this season. So yeah, I'm just surprised that he's not just him, but just the A&M team in general is finding these ways to get out of these situations, especially like late in the season, because they've heard so much about how great they are. It's very easy to overlook a lot of your opponents and come out stumbling. So shout out to Marcel Reed, shout out to Mike Elko for getting this team to be motivated to finish this game the right way, because it could have definitely went off the rails throughout the whole game, and it almost did, but they found a way.
Yeah, it did get a little chaotic there, but they pulled through. But then on the other side of the coin, the flip side of the coin, Corey, South Carolina, just a devastating loss, man. You can't lose this game.
No,
you can't lose this game. Shane Beamer, what are you doing?
No,
you can't. Your team can't hold leads. I mean, this has been a staple of the Beamer era, Corey.
Yeah,
you had Alabama dead to rights. You had this team dead to rights. You had Alabama dead to rights 2 years in a row. LSU dead to rights last year. I mean, you win a couple of these games. We're talking about you possibly in the playoff last year, and a team that's solid. Definitely a bowl team this year. A couple of those games, are end differently. So I don't know, man. I think his time in Columbia is going to be coming to an end soon, Corey, especially when you look at how the team lost this one.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, man, it's tough, man. I picked South Carolina in the preseason, Chris, to be the talk of the town in the 12-team playoff. I thought that this team was a playoff team, and they have not been that this season. They are the SEC's most disappointing team this season by far. And yeah, that sucks. Yeah, I mean, look, you can look at this game. I will say this, Chris. You can look at this game and say, man, they should have let go of Shula weeks ago, because if they started out hot the way that they did in the first half, that's all I need to know, that things needed to be put in place before they eventually did. But I still have questions on how do you score 30 points in the first half and you don't score any more points in the second half. And look, that's just attested to what they've done in the offseason, or what they did in the offseason with Lenore Sellers. I'm gonna go ahead and say it. Lenore Sellers has regressed in a way that I wasn't hoping for him to regress. We were looking at Lenore's to be probably one of those dark horse Heisman contenders, and he's gotten sacked tons of times. He's the most sacked quarterback in FBS. He throws very pedestrian throws at times, and we know what he can be with really good coaching, and that's unfortunate to see. So I don't know. I don't know, South Carolina fans. This was a season that you are hoping to be planning out trips for potential CFP berth, or at worst you're probably gonna get to a nice Citrus Bowl, and go from there. But you saw the trajectory moving forward with the program, and you have not seen that this season. So yeah, I feel bad for Gamecock fans out there, because they were definitely looking for a better season than this.
Yeah, it's tough for them, especially that's a loyal fan base, a bunch that takes a lot of pride in their squad. Williams-Brice, one of the toughest places to play at in the nation for a reason. Those Gamecock fans, boy, they don't play about their cocks. So it is unfortunate how things have panned out this season, but that's college football for you, man. You never know. Windows close quickly, and you might have been in your window to win and didn't know it. You thinking, oh, okay, we surprised this year, we'll take that leap next year. When in reality, your window was that year. And we'll see how. I'm sure there's other teams where this could possibly be the case. I mean, we don't want this to be, Corey, but this could be the case for Mississippi State next year. We don't want it to be. We don't suspect it to be. Mississippi State could easily be a 9-3 team right now, or a team that could be in the season like 9-3 or 8-4, and they might not be bowl eligible. So I mean, it's how things play out. Just a couple plays here and there, and it really does make a difference with some schools in winning 5 games or 8 games or 9 games.
It does. It does. And look, that's the margin of error now that teams have in the SEC and just in college football in general. You don't want to be too far behind, because as soon as you get far behind, someone's going to take your place and move up the ladder. Look at Vanderbilt this season. So yeah,
take your place and take your players.
they'll do both at the same damn time. So yeah, no, you're absolutely right, Chris. So yeah, man, it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate what South Carolina has become this season, but hey, I guess somebody gotta be at the bottom of the totem pole in the conference.
Yeah.
So that's it. So yeah, man. But we have another person in the chat, Dunny Peddle. We appreciate you sir, being on
Shout out
the
to Donnie.
being on the show. Shane, he said Shane Beamer. I have to be a little bit more of the explicit side, but I'll go ahead and say it. Shane Beamer corny ass was saying, I mean, we're not surprised. When going into halftime, then he got built to ass. You are absolutely right, Donnie. I don't know what Shane Beamer was coming from with that. Like, look, it's just a rough day in general. First, you had the state trooper, bumping in the harbor for no reason, and then you lose the whole lead in College Station. It's just a whirlwind of just unfortunate events.
Yeah. If you're gonna be talking greasy like that, man, you gotta get the dub. You gotta get the dub.
You gotta get the dub. How great would they had got the dub after hearing that the state trooper in Texas couldn't go to any more College Station games. Like how fit that would have been. That would have been great. Like, hey,
that would have been great.
we got the last laugh at the end of the day.
Now he go home, and you going home too with an L. So, tough, man. Tough.
Oh man. Hey, it's the life in the SEC, I guess. At this point, Shane Beamer gotta learn the hard way.
Man, he's I guess it's a tough lesson for him to learn because this ain't the first time, Corey. But hey, that's neither here nor there.
Yeah. So yeah, man. Yeah. But I gotta give kudos to Texas A&M finding a way to win. It was a big time comeback for them. And we'll see what happens as they get closer and closer to the game versus the Texas Longhorns to end the season. So we will see what happens. But yeah, let's go ahead and we'll move on to our final premier game before we go into some of our other games on the show, folks. We will now head into this game between Texas and Georgia. Texas went in between the hedges in Athens over the weekend, Chris, and the score it was a beatdown, a critical beatdown. Georgia wins 35-10, leaving no doubt that they were underdogs in this one. They found a way. Look, we talk about Mr. Dunny was talking about putting belt to ass on the Gamecocks. Georgia put belt to ass on the Longhorns over the weekend.
Yes, they did. Georgia showed why they were the favorite heading into this one, and did what the favorite's supposed to do: win and some. And Georgia just, Corey, we talked about how they played last week against Mississippi State, and I felt like that game was as Georgia continues this season, that's the turning point. That's when Georgia basically played a complete game. And it carried into this week. This team has found itself. They know who they are. Is this your most dynamic Georgia team? No. Is this a team just full of first-round draft picks on defense? No. Same could be said about offense. But they have talented guys, well-coached, disciplined guys that will make you pay for mistakes. And when they play Georgia disciplined, Kirby Smart football, this is a team. It might not be the prettiest, but if you are lacking on your pimping, they'll embarrass you. And if you come ready to play ball, y'all can go toe to toe. And Georgia may win. They may not win. But what you ain't gonna do is beat Georgia easily, Corey. I know that much. And this is a tough team. This is a tough team that I feel like can play with anybody in the nation. I don't know if their ceiling is a national championship. But hey, when you have Kirby Smart as your head coach and he is someone with multiple championships, he knows what he's doing. That is an X factor that you have to account for. And big time games, I feel like he and his staff can definitely scheme up game plans to embarrass you and win games and play better than you anticipate. And that's what happened. I feel like here in this one, he definitely embarrassed Texas, and he and his staff put on a master class. And Gunnar Stockton, Corey, this is like breakout player of the SEC. I mean, he's a legitimate quarterback. We got to talk about him as one of the top three in the league, I think. A week in and week out, he's just balling, making the right plays, throwing for touchdowns, not turning the ball over. He's really caught his stride and has leveled up into being the guy that Georgia needs to lead this offense. The offense isn't carrying him. He has taken control and taken charge of his team and is leading this offense.
You're absolutely right, Chris. Gunnar Stockton, he's been playing on fire. Like the last couple weeks. Like let me go ahead, folks, and give you his stats if you weren't aware over the weekend. So Gunnar Stockton, 24 for 29, 229 yards, passing, 4 touchdowns. He did throw 1 interception. And he also had 1 rushing touchdown, 6 carries for 29 yards. He ended the day with a 94.4 QBR. The man was electric. The man could not be denied. This level of play that Gunnar Stockton has been playing with right now can take Georgia far in these playoffs. I'm saying so far we could be seeing Ohio State possibly taking on Georgia for a national championship. Hell, that might be your national championship with Georgia playing like this. Yeah. This team isn't to be reckoned with right now. They're clicking on all cylinders. And hey, I tip my cap off to what Kirby Smart has done with this team. And look, we know this about Kirby Smart. One thing we know about him, Chris, he's going to find ways to motivate his team to get far each year. And whether they get through the first round or they finally get to a national championship, he's going to find ways to get them far into playoff contention. And in terms of this season, I think I think they definitely have the pedigree now to make it far into the CFP. So hey, shout out to Georgia, because man, they definitely took Texas to the woodshed, which has me now segueing into Texas. Steve Sarkisian, this is your 3rd straight loss to the Georgia Bulldogs as the head coach of this football team. We've known all season that Texas has struggled with the offensive line, with Arch in general. We've seen it. It reared its ugly head on Saturday, Chris. And now, I gotta say it, they look like dead man walking right now, going into that A&M game.
Yeah, man.
And that's unfortunate.
It is unfortunate. We're gonna learn just how much pride these Longhorns have in that game. A playoff spot might not be on the line, but to give yourself the best chance, you got to show up, and you got to win that game. And besides the playoff, it's A&M. It's your little brother. Let's just keep it a buck. A&M is Texas' little brother, and little brother's having a great year. Little brother is showing his ass. You can't let little bro show out on y'all. You got to remind them who big bro is. Y'all A&M. We Texas. So just for that alone, Corey, you got to show up and win that game. But when you look at the grand scheme of things, for you to even be in the conversation to try to sneak into the playoff, that'll go a long way in boosting your resume. by being a top 3 team in the nation. So we'll see. But yeah, Texas, um, you gotta get this together, man. You can't let little bro beat you.
Nah, you can't let you can't let little bro beat you, because once you do that, then we're gonna have some real problems.
You have some problems because not only are you not in the playoff, but little bro beat you. It's a double whammy.
Oh man, you can't let that. You can't let those engineers over there at College Station, whoop your ass for 4 quarters. You can't do that.
It's one thing if you lose to little bro, but we 10-2 or 11-1, and we in the playoff, and we're gonna play for a chance to win championship. You let little bro beat you now. What, you 8-4, Corey?
Yeah.
And out the playoff.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, them folks in Austin gonna be sick. Sick.
Yeah, and that's not where you want to be at this point of the season. Look, you had high hopes this season. Look, we remember, Chris, SEC media days. Half the media they were paying attention to the Texas Longhorns. They were trying to
this year
get scooped from
March. You were building to.
Yeah,
you were building towards this season.
Yeah, like the hoopla was all about Arch Manning and building towards a national championship Texas team led by Arch Manning and returning players. You had guys like Wingo, coming back.
Mm-hmm.
He's just a slew of players. It's
Baxter.
Yes, CJ Baxter, Livingstone, all of these guys, and this is what you've produced this season. Like, man, the hype definitely did get this team, and I kind of feel like sometimes I gotta put this team right next to South Carolina as like disappointing SEC teams out there.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Because
we could say they are more of a disappointment. This was a team people were talking about winning 11 games minimum. Mm-hmm. People thought they would sweep through the regular season undefeated. We beat Ohio State. We beat Georgia.
You heard
Not
that.
only did you lose to those teams, you have lost to Florida, who fired their coach. You let this Florida team beat you.
I know.
That's bad.
I know.
That loss is not aging well.
It's really not. Oh man. So yeah, man, it sucks. If you're a Texas fan, you were definitely hoping for a huge season, and you have not gotten it at all. So it is what it is at this point, Chris. And Donnie also said it would be up to A&M to beat Texas to go 12-0 and deliver the 8-4 blow to the Longhorns. That would be poetic after last year. Yeah, Donnie, you're absolutely right. It would be poetic. And those guys at A&M have been thinking, they probably have that clock ticking just like Ohio State has that Michigan clock ticking for the game. Like, they are waiting for the Longhorns in that one. And that game is going to be in Austin. Like, they can't wait.
Yeah. They would love nothing more but to show out in Austin on the road, to just beat them down in their hood. Oh man, yeah. No, Donnie's cooking. Donnie is right for sure, bro, and I can see it now. That A&M gonna try to run the score up.
Oh yeah.
They gonna try to run the score up. Ain't no calling the dogs. It could be less than a minute left in the game. If they had the 5-yard line, they gonna try to score it, Corey.
Absolutely. Like,
even if it's a blowout, another 6.
Yeah, another one. That's what exactly that's gonna be the whole demeanor in that whole game. He's like, oh, we got the ball again. Okay, you know what's about to happen in Texas? Another one, another touchdown.
Man,
it might get ugly if Texas is ready.
It might.
So
that's yeah.
No, you're right, Chris. It's all about, at this point, if who's motivated? Are you ready to finish the season out the right way? Because it has not went your way. If you are, then yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens. Because an opportunity is there to knock down your rival at the end of the day. So
Mm-hmm.
all is there for that to happen. But how the way we've seen this Texas team, I don't know. A&M, they're riding high right now.
A&M is riding high. They are a wild card too, which makes this game that much more interesting.
Yeah, I know. So yeah, man, we will see. But a great job by Georgia in cementing their legacy in the SEC this season, and they're working towards the SEC championship. So they're getting closer and closer to that for sure.
Yes, sir.
So yeah, folks. Now we're about to head into some of the other Week 12 games over the weekend. Only got two, but I think these are two important games, Chris, that we'll definitely talk about as we get ready to get closer to wrap up the show, of course. But we'll start off with Notre Dame taking on Pittsburgh. This was a big game, Chris. College Game Day was in town for this one. For both teams, because Pittsburgh going into this game had been playing really, really sound, good football heading into this one. And we thought that Pittsburgh was probably going to be one of those ACC fringe teams that were going to sneak into the college football playoff and just knock down the door and say, hey, I'm here. But Notre Dame said, no, you're not. 37-15 was your final in this one, Chris.
Yeah, no, this sucker played out exactly how I said it would, Corey. I mean, we had this one, we had the script. The script makers, they hooked us up a couple days early. They told us how it was going to go down. We said it hinged on can Pittsburgh stop Jeremiah Love, and Notre Dame said you ain't gonna stop Jeremiah Love.
they made sure of it. They made sure of it. They were like, no, you're not stopping this man, okay? I don't
you
care
can't
what.
Stop him,
right? I don't care whatever game plan, right?
Yeah, and he had a day, and that's the game. If Jeremiah Love is running all over you with Notre Dame's good defense, you're in trouble. And so, that's the story of this game. Jeremiah Love showed out. Pittsburgh was forced to try to make plays offensively. They were kind of against the 8 ball, and just a rough day. And Notre Dame, they did what they do. This was Notre Dame football to a T. No pressure on CJ Carr. Just give it to Jeremiah and get out the way. Give it to Boobie Miles. Let Boobie do what Boobie do. And that's exactly what happened in this one.
You calling him Boobie Miles. When you start looking at him, he kind of does run like Boobie Miles. This man is on a mission every damn week. Put some respect on Jeremiah Love's name.
Hey,
damn it.
For real now.
Like, you may not be a Notre Dame fan, but look, I see good running backs when I see one,
Hey, when he sees some green grass, you just go ahead and throw the deuces up. Holla at you. Like, you ain't catching them.
Him and Amal Hardy at the awards for the Dope Walker award. They're just gonna be looking at each other like that Spider-Man meme. Point at each other because they're the same person at the end of the day. Somebody gotta win that damn award.
Man, after the game Hardy had, boy, I hate it for Jeremiah. It's gonna be tough for him.
I know. So look, I can't wait for the awards, especially that one, because it's been some pretty good running backs this season, and Jeremiah Love, he definitely showed why in this game. 23 carries, 147 yards, and a touchdown. As long as the other day was a 56 yarder. So, he took control of this ball game and helped sealed the victory for Notre Dame. So look, Notre Dame, say what you want to say about them. They've been soundly winning ball games. Have they been beating like some of the best? You can argue and say they haven't been playing teams like Oregon and not even some of the upper echelon teams in the ACC. But Pittsburgh was a good team going into this game, and this was the kind of game that Notre Dame needed to stay alive in the CFP race. So I give my kudos to the Fighting Irish in this one. They did what they need to do.
Yes, sir. I'm right there with you. I'm right there with you. You can only beat who's in front of you.
Yeah, that's all. That's all you can say at the end of the day. So, yeah, man, we will we'll definitely see what Fighting Irish does as they finish up their season as well. Before we head to the final additional game that we have, Chris, we have Christian also here on the chat. We appreciate you, Christian. Do y'all still think Alabama can get in the playoffs? Well, I mean, there's still a possibility. I mean, there's some things that have to happen a lot. I mean, who knows what might happen? Ole Miss might, lose in the Egg Bowl. That might give Alabama an opportunity. Who knows what happens with Notre Dame? There are some things that would need to happen in order for Bama to still squeeze in. Are they?
I think they should make it though. Even as a 2-loss team right now, Corey, I still think we'll see Bama in the playoff. If the playoff were to start today, they gotta take care of business and win out. You lose one more. Hey, the tide ain't rolling into the playoff. The tide gonna be rolling to the Citrus Bowl or the Pop-Tarts Bowl, something like that. Yeah, they ain't gonna be in the playoff if that's the case. But if they win out, you've built enough equity, and you're Alabama. Let's just keep it a buck, Corey. A 10-win Alabama team ain't missing the playoff.
No, not at all, not at all. And you gotta look at it too. This is their first SEC loss. You gotta think about that as well. They did lose to Florida State. Yeah, that's definitely a bummer. You shouldn't lose to Florida State, especially not this Florida State team. But this is their first SEC loss. You got to think about all the SEC games that they've won.
You beat a Georgia.
Yeah.
You have that on your resume. And that win keeps getting better and better with time. So
right.
they in good shape. Yeah. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So and you have the edge over Vandy, with who's also another 2-loss SEC team, with the win head to head against them, which could potentially help you get the nod over Vandy if that comes to be the case. So
exactly. So yeah, Christian. I think there's still opportunities for Alabama to seize the moment and still get in. They just need a little help at the end of the day. So like we said, handle your business, and you take care of Auburn, and you take care of what is it? Eastern Illinois, I think. A cupcake that they should not lose against. Oh gosh, if they did that,
the school of the blind.
Yeah,
they'll be down.
If they handle their business, I think they'll still make a case at the end of the day. So yeah, we will see. But our final game, Chris, we had Florida take on Ole Miss over the weekend, and Florida made it. They made it interesting. They wanted they wanted to stick at the lane before they open up the doors to lane and tell them, welcome to the University of Florida. We're glad to have you.
They weren't trying to make Lane look bad. They said, we're gonna make you sweat a little bit.
I think that's what it
was. we can't mess up our asset. We need you to make the playoffs now. We just gonna make you. You gonna work for this dollar. You gonna work for this money.
Yeah, no. I think that's what Florida had on their mind throughout the whole game. 34-24 was your final in this one. Ole Miss came back from behind and won this game soundly at the end. One of the biggest things, Chris, that I wanted to kind of delve into is we've been knowing the last couple of days, and there's been updates on this, is that Florida has their guy, and that guy is Lane Kiffin. And it's just a matter of time of the announcement being made that Florida has hired Lane Kiffin as their brand new head football coach going into next season. This creates a big dilemma, Chris, for Ole Miss. You're heading into the postseason.
Did Nico say that they have their eyes keen on Lane?
I think so. I mean, On3
Nico Thamel.
Yeah. Pretty much everyone out there has pretty much, even some of like the lower tier insiders have started to hear, word from just the whole situation is that Florida is going to hire Lane Kiffin as their head coach, and a lot of this is dealing with like Vegas odds. Of course, usually Vegas had Lane
Vegas
Kiffin.
got the scoop.
Yeah, they had the scoop. They this all started, folks. If you're kind of in the weeds on a lot of this, is that Vegas had odds of Lane Kiffin becoming the next head coach of the University of Florida a couple of days ago, and recently they took down the betting odds of that. And essentially, when you hear those things happen, you kind of start getting word from insiders that's within the know, leaking information that this is going to happen, and the word is going to get out. When it's going to get out, we'll see. Some people say it is very, very imminent. Like right now, Ole Miss is going to be on a bye week before the Egg Bowl, so who knows? We may hear it sometime this week.
He ain't shut it down either in his post game presser.
No, he did not.
He said he wants to focus on this team, and it would be fair to these guys, to paraphrase, not trying to put words in his mouth, but to paraphrase, it wouldn't be fair to this team and what they got going on this season to be talking about those outside endeavors. He's focused on these guys and what they're doing right now, which is code for what Magic Johnson say. I ain't gonna be here.
Oh man. Oh no. How can we not forget those words from the one Magic Johnson? But no, you're absolutely right, Chris.
Yeah. So we'll see how that whole situation plays out. But at least Lane has this team playing where no matter what this was being said, we just gonna make the most of what our situation is right now together. And I can tell you 100%, regardless of what's going on the outside, Corey, he is 100% locked in on what this team is doing. This year's team, this 2025 Ole Miss Rebels team, and what they got going on. He's all in on these guys. He's going to try to coach to the best of his abilities and make sure these guys have their best opportunity to make the playoff and win a national championship. And they got a good squad. I don't know if this team is built to make a serious run in the playoff. However, they should make the playoffs. And we'll see how they finish out the season. You don't want to lose to Mississippi State. That'd be a very bad loss, and it'll put you in a precarious position when it comes to the seeding if you were to drop the ball like that. But the way their schedule is currently set up, Corey, they are in a good position, to say the least, to walk into the playoff as a one-loss team.
Yeah. I think they've definitely created a great scenario for themselves this season. They've laid the groundwork. They won the games that they needed to. They definitely had a game with Georgia, and Georgia found a way to squeeze through with the victory in that one. So Yeah, I think Ole Miss for the most part this season has been playing lights out this year, and yeah, now they just got to finish at this point. Yeah, you have the Egg Bowl, always a tough game. Indeed, you're gonna have Mississippi State coming into that game being desperate because they're trying to get bowl eligible for the first time in like what 3 years at this point. Yeah, uh, all that goes through the Egg Bowl, and if you're Ole Miss, you're trying to stay in playoff contention, flat out. And yeah, you have all this going on, Chris, and I forgot to mention this part. So, in terms of Florida wanting Lane Kiffin, potentially there could be a scenario where there's like two contracts going on, and one of those contracts, the one being from Ole Miss, Ole Miss has leverage, possibly to not keep Lane around to coach in the playoffs if they see fit. And that's just mainly due to if he's leaving, they have to find the next guy to coach
Mm-hmm.
Ole Miss and not just coach, find players. So they have to
Mm-hmm.
get on the ground running then. Like it, especially next month in December because you have the early signing period.
Which is
Um,
basically the signing period now.
Right, it is the signing period now, so you can't have any margin of error for that if you're trying to keep things going in the right direction in Oxford. This creates a big scenario for Ole Miss Chris where it can either go one or two ways. You can either figure it out and try to keep Lane Kiffin some kind of way, or either find your new guy and also have to deal with the growing pains of like the new early signing period, and if you go into the playoffs, you have to kind of deal with this lower period where a lot of these guys that probably want to go to Ole Miss don't really have all the answers yet because this isn't going to be some kind of overnight thing that takes place in trying to find the next guy if that
Mm-hmm.
comes to fruition. So it's a lot of crazy moving parts that are going on with Ole Miss in this situation, Chris. But hey, a lot of people want Lane Kiffin to be their next head football coach, in Florida is that team.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, we'll see how it all plays out. At the end of the day, all you can hope for and just do play the games and win.
Mm-hmm.
And then if he leaves, you deal with the aftermath. Like you said, it's going to be fast. It's going to be fast. You gotta get it figured out quickly. I'm sure um, was it Mr. Carter and those people who are some of the higher ups at Ole Miss.
Mm-hmm.
They're all they whether it's official or not, they have a plan in place. That who knows? They could have been working on this for a year now, Corey. You know, Lane Kiffin's name has popped up year in and year out. And I'm pretty sure the people at Ole Miss are well aware of where they stand in the pecking order of the hierarchy of coaching positions.
Mm-hmm.
And you always, in today's college football landscape, with how things can change so quickly, you got to have a plan in place in case you got to break the emergency glass and all hell breaks loose and your coach does go elsewhere. So we'll see just how well structured of athletic department Ole Miss is, and based off what we've seen, I feel like they can handle the search if things are to lead them to that where they have to have a search. I feel like they are prepared to do so. Um, they have had great structuring with NIL and have been on top of things from the beginning with NIL. They have been doing things the right way with the portal. And just based off the moves that they have made and how this department has been ran with Lane Kiffin as his head coach, I think they can do a good job with a quick search. So we'll see if all else if it gets to that point. I think we'll see what Ole Miss is made of as an athletic department.
Yeah. No, I agree with you, Chris. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how they can handle all of this because this is a crazy time. You
It's
got
uncharted territory.
It is. It definitely is. Like you have a Ole Miss team destined for greatness in the college football playoff on top of your coach leaving, and you need to find the next guy for the next season, and then you gotta have some retention as well as bringing in new players, but also players of the same caliber of what's there now. So it's a lot of moving parts, and it's gonna be interesting.
But I bet you they'll sign up for it 10 times out of 10. With winning comes the possibility of your coach leaving, especially if we're gonna keep it real. If you want the Mississippi schools, Corey, because the Mississippi schools ain't supposed to win. Ole Miss ain't supposed to be in the playoffs. Mississippi State isn't supposed to be in the playoffs. This is how this goes in the SEC.
Well, all I have to say, at this point, you Jeff Lebby, you got a statue out there playing quarterback. Maybe you're the odd man out of this. It's just Ole Miss at this point. So, but no, I definitely agree with what you're saying, Chris. It's going to be interesting to see what happens going forward with this. But yeah, uncharted territories. But if you're Ole Miss, you expect this, and now you're just looking to try to build off of this by finishing the right way and finding the right guy into the program to keep this thing going. Because I think Ole Miss athletic department, they know football right now is key for them to be successful going forward. We will see. We will see.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So yeah. Those are all of our games. Some of the biggest games of the weekend in Week 12, folks. So it was a great weekend indeed. We had a couple of games out there. I saw South Florida lose to Navy. It can't count out Navy. Navy plays tough.
Oh, Navy gonna get somebody.
Navy always gonna get somebody, and South Florida was one of their victims. Never count out the Naval Academy.
Yeah. Shout out to the midshipmen.
Yes, absolutely. So yeah, man. Before we head out of here, folks. Before we get out of here, Chris, we have Chief of the Week for Week 12. Go ahead and let y'all know who the Chief of the Week of Week 12 is. I have to give the award to none other. Unfortunately, but fortunately for him, because he's Mississippi tough, Mississippi homegrown, Ahmad Hardy. I gotta give it to the brother, Chris. 25 carries, 300 yards, 3 touchdowns in the Missouri Tigers' victory over Mississippi State over the weekend. This man beat Mississippi State by himself.
He was a man amongst boys out there, Corey. I mean, just breaking tackles in a way that you only see on CFB 26. I ain't know you could break tackles like this in real life.
I didn't either.
It's like he was greased out there. The brother was just bouncing off tacklers, but he was incredible. He runs with bad intentions. And if you ain't trying to tackle him with those same intentions, you ain't going to bring him down. And that was evident on Saturday.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with you, Chris. Yeah, just a great performance by Ahmad Hardy, one of the premier running backs in all of college football. He's right up there with the Jeremiah Loves out there in Frazier from Georgia. He's been balling as well. So many backs in college football this year. I think the NFL, they have a huge pool of running backs that they can pull from heading into this draft and next year's the draft following as well. So yeah, I had to give Ahmad Hardy Chief of the Week for Week 12 just because of that stat line. It's insane.
Yeah, definitely, well deserved. And shout out to him, man. It's one thing to do that have that performance with your starting quarterback, but now everybody's keyed in on you with the backup in, and you still showing out. That's impressive.
It is. So yeah. Shout out to Ahmad Hardy as our Chief of the Week. So yeah, Chris, we did it. We conquered the week in Week 12 of the college football season. It was a great week indeed, and now we're going to head into Week 13 of the college football season now, and check out some of those games there. I can't tell what we have on the slate this week because this week was
it's
interesting.
The calm before the storm.
Yeah,
there's a few games in there.
USC, Oregon, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So got a few. Pitt, Georgia Tech. Can Georgia Tech still try to stay in this ACC race? We'll see what happens. For sure on that. BYU, Cincinnati. I guess Cincinnati isn't wholeheartedly taken out of the Big 12 race. So, but hey, they got another opportunity.
Real bleak.
Yeah. I mean, who knows? You beat BYU, then maybe things kind of change a little bit. Because you look at the standings right now. They're very low on the totem pole right now, below Arizona State. And they're between Arizona State and Arizona right now. So a lot would need to happen. But hey, if that was to happen, they'll definitely be jockeying for position in the Big 12 race. Who knows? They might actually jump some teams. Maybe not Utah. That may actually help Utah because they did lose to them. So who knows? An interesting week, I'd say.
Yeah, definitely. College football week, even when it looks to be chill, we'll get some shenanigans on Saturday. That's for sure.
As always. Well, good sir. We appreciate you as always being here. We appreciate you good folks chiming in with us as always. We always are welcome here. We welcome you guys with open arms to chat with us about each week of the college football season. So yeah, guys, before we head out of here, Chris, we got some outros. Let the good folks know where they can find you on social media.
Yeah, you can find your boy on X, or as I like to call it, Twitter, Chris_Bolton _12. Holla at your boy, and on Instagram at Chris.Bolton _. And of course, our socials, BD Sportscast. Holla, follow us on there. So definitely appreciate everybody tapping in, tuning in, and look forward to doing this thing all over again here in a few days.
Absolutely. Just like what Chris says. And yeah, folks, you can find me on X at Listen to KSW. I'm on there talking college football, professional wrestling, the whole nine. So yeah, definitely follow me on there. But guys, that's it for Chris and I. We appreciate you guys listening to the show, chatting with us as always. If you want to follow us, of course, you can follow us here on our official YouTube channel or on our Twitch channel. You can follow all our socials, of course, at BD Sportscast on X, Instagram, TikTok. And if you want to listen to us on a podcast format, you can always listen to us there as well on any of your favorite podcast applications. So yeah, that's it for us, guys. We will be back next Sunday for another live edition of the Breakdown Sportscast. So be sure to tap in with us then. But until next time, I'm Corey Willis. He's Chris Bolton. You are listening to the Breakdown Sportscast. We'll chat with y'all later. Peace.
Peace.